Sai Ram to all of you, and I'd like to extend my salutations to all the gurus here, the guru that is in each one of you, the Parama Guru, and also would like to welcome all the elders, the children, and brothers and sisters. Sai Ram. Thank you for the introduction. First and foremost, I'd like to express gratitude to my parents who gave me to Swami at a very young age. Their faith and trust in Swami at a time where there were no telephones, this was way, way back in time, is to be really exalted. I start with a small disclaimer to my talk. I do not claim to know Swami because my mind is very limited. So what I've experienced him through my limited mind is all I can tell you about. As we evolve, our understanding of God changes. And at one point of time, we do realize we are God, and that's when all the speech stops. So if I'm speaking today, it means I haven't reached there yet. So also please remember I'm incidental to the story, and the glory truly belongs to Swami and nobody else. With that disclaimer, I start my talk. On the occasion of Guru Poornima, there are three things that we need to remember. I know we've heard this over and over again through Swami and through all his speakers. There are three great things that we have achieved in our lives when we are born as a human. And we have the longing for liberation, and we have the protecting care of a perfected being. How fortunate are we, right? We've had all three of this. We are today assembled here because we have all the three. We have had a human birth, and we are all longing to reach liberation. We don't know what it is yet, but Swami has told it is great and grand. So we are on this path, and then we have had his presence in our lives. So with that, also, and Swami says a guru is a person who moves us from ignorance to knowledge, but also he shows us the goal. He shows us the guri, he says. The guri is the goal. And also in the tradition of guru-disciple, it's believed that when the disciple is ready, then the guru appears. And Buddhists believe that when the disciple is truly ready, he even disappears. But Swami goes one step forward and he says, who is the true guru? Your own conscience, the presence of divinity in your heart is itself the guru. So you don't need an external guru. But Swami is kind enough to come as an avatar to tell us that we have to look inside and not to the external. So with that, I start my story. My entry into Swami's fold was that my father worked for a books and publications company. Since he was surrounded by books, he came across Howard Murphy's Man of Miracles. He read that, and then he also read Satyam Shivam Sundaram. And upon reading this, he believed he had found a phenomenon. And as one day he was reading through one of these books, he was sitting in the bus. He used to take the local transportation, and he found a person sitting next to him. And as soon as he saw this person, he felt shy, because in those days, Swami was not at all famous. There was more negative media against Swami than there was positive. Today, we all feel very great that we have Swami in our lives, and we want to show that his presence in our lives. But in those days, if you knew Swami, you were kind of an outcast. So he tried to hide the book, but this person next to him had already seen him reading the book. So he said, he introduced himself, and he said he was also a devotee of Swami. And my father hadn't yet known where Swami lives and all that exactly. So this person, and in Bangalore those days, you did not have any modes of communication. It was before landlines and everything. So he told him how to get to Brindavan, and thus started our journey with Swami. In the 1970s, Swami spent 9 months of the year in Brindavan. He only spent 3 months in Puttaparthi. He went for major festivals to Puttaparthi. The first was Shivratri, Guru Poornima, Swami's birthday, and Dashara. Those were the 4 festivals he would go to Parthi, but he was almost always in Brindavan. So we enjoyed his close proximity growing up in Brindavan. Our home happened to be 5 minutes away from R.S. Padmanabhan's house. I know you were watching the video. The person who was walking behind Swami in the Brindavan Darshans, he's R.S. Padmanabhan. His house was just 5 minutes away. So I don't know how, but we came to know of his house, and we also came to know that his daughter, Geeta Mohan Ram, all of you know, was a Balvikas teacher. And so my father enrolled me in Balvikas. And I don't clearly remember, but I think we had 3 classes a week or so. So every evening my dad would drop me and pick me up, just walking. There were times when Swami would pop into their house unannounced, and you would know Swami has come because of the crowd. I don't know how people would know, but there would be a big crowd. And my father would come to pick me up, and lo and behold, Swami would be there in their house. And then Swami was the perfect host wherever he is. He only believed in feeding us. Knowledge or food, one of the two. So he would make sure that we all ate, and then we would go back home. So this was my childhood. And the one thing, Brindavan is very close to me, my heart is, because in Brindavan, in the olden days, on early mornings on Thursdays and Sundays, Swami used to come out on the roof right there. Swami used to come out on the roof like this. We would go for Nagar Sankirtan, which is, we do it in retreats too. We would go around, and then we would come back, and we would stand at the base of his bungalow. This is the old Brindavan, not the Trai Brindavan. Swami would come out on the roof, and he would sway to the bhajans. And if you had an arti plate, you could do arti to Swami. It was that free. There was no rules and regulations because there were so few people there. And every single morning, this was called the Vishwarupa Darshan. Every single darshan of this, I remember seeing an aura around Swami, and it used to be a white aura. He would sway, and the aura would sway, and I'm just a 5-year-old girl. So I thought it was pretty natural, right? So I thought he's God, so he has to have an aura, because we see these in comic books where we see the halo around, but it was all around Swami's form. So until one day, a neighbor who was also there, I asked her, do you see that? And she said, no. So I was like, she might have some vision problems. So I asked my other neighbor, and she said, no. So then I realized that Swami was giving this special darshan to me for whatever his grace. But this is one thing I can never forget. When I close my eyes, that's one thing that comes to my mind of Brindavan. So when God descends on earth, it's really a great event. But more than God descending on earth, he brings these perfected devotees around him. And I had a chance to be around and breathe the same air as Swami and these great devotees. Some of these great devotees you can see is Rama Brahmam. And Rama Brahmam was a very tall and big man. And we've heard so many stories about him around Swami. So one incident that comes to mind about him is his wife. They lived in the ashram, so they would live on the first floor, and Swami was right above them. Both Rama Brahmam and his wife had a loud voice. You could hear them maybe across a couple of towns. They were that loud. So one day Swami came to him and jokingly said, Rama Brahmam, I couldn't sleep all night. So Rama Brahmam asked him, Swami, why didn't you sleep? He said, your wife has a loud voice. I just couldn't sleep. She talks so loudly. So then everything is quiet. Everybody laughs. They think it's a joke. After a few days, it's very quiet at night. So Swami comes very, concerned the next day and asks him, Rama Brahmam, what happened? Did you scold your wife? Has she stopped talking? So then he says, no, Swami, I have a few relatives in the Bangalore city. I went and dropped her there. So he left his wife because she was a disturbance to Swami. So that was the amount of surrender or love for Swami. The comfort of Swami was over anything in his life. I don't know if many of you have heard of, I didn't get a picture, but there was a cricketer called Brijesh Patel in Bangalore. I don't know if many of you know, but he was from Karnataka. He was a very famous cricketer at the state and national level. I don't know if he went to international, but his father was an ardent devotee of Swami. and he was handicapped from his waist down. He would come in a wheelchair. One time Swami gave him an interview, and he never asked for anything, but Swami gave him a choice. He said, I can cure you this birth, but your karma is so much that you'll have to come back another birth and experience the pain. But being a true devotee of Swami that he was, he told Swami, no, having known you, I can suffer the pain this birth, because we don't know in our next birth whether we are going to have the knowledge of Swami. We don't know what we have done. We may not have the same surrounding, the ambience and the spiritual enlightenment that we have now. But he said, no, Swami, I am willing to suffer this birth and let it go. And he stayed invalid for the rest of his life. But these are the kind of devotees we had around us. So Swami was a role model, but you think, oh, he's God, right? He's God in human form. He can achieve everything. But he brings around these kind of individuals for us to see how we can be like them also. Another person, I have a picture prior to that, it was V.K. Gokak. V.K. Gokak was the first vice chancellor of Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. He was a great devotee too, but he was a strict disciplinarian, so much so that when he would scold, Swami would not interfere. So he was like, I can't do anything, it's V.K. Gokak's thing, okay? So he has told, you have to listen to him. Swami was that way. The only way V.K. Gokak would listen was through Swami's mother, because people would go to Swami's mother, Ishwarama, and complain, Swami, see, Gokak is doing this for us. And then Mother Ishwarama would talk to him but he was a great devotee. He would often tell about Swami's Maya. He says that, we think Swami is God and everything. One moment he shows you his God, but the next moment he would be at Gokak's door when they went on a trip, knock on his door and ask him for a shaving cream. So he says, it makes you so confused, but always remember he's not this 5'3" human being. He's God, he's God, he's God. So he used to always tell that. And who could ever forget Professor Kasturi, my favorite. Kasturi was born into a very poor family. He went through many personal hardships. In his personal life, he lost his 19-year-old son. Before he came to Swami, he had lost his 19-year-old son, Atri, and they were devastated, and they came to Swami. But if you looked at Kasturi, you would never guess that he went through hardships. And that is the greatness of a devotee, because they will always be funny, they will be smiling. And, we have this picture of being spiritual means being very, Swami used to call it castor oil face. Why castor oil faces? In olden days, they used to give a teaspoon of castor oil when you had constipation. So to relieve that. And you didn't know which was worse, castor oil or the constipation, because it's that bad. So that's why Swami used to say you have a castor oil face. But these devotees always were funny, they were smiling. So as spiritual as you are, you will be more happy. So if you see a sad face, you're not spiritual. That's why. So once Professor Kasturi and Swami were coming back from a drive, and Kasturi was older than Swami, so he took a little bit, how Swami was very sprightly in his young age. He would be jumping around. He was 50 years, but he would be like a 20-year-old person, jumping around. So Swami quickly alighted from the car and he went into the interview room. As he was, Kasturi took a little bit of time. He got down from the car and he was going slowly into the interview room. And Swami, very mischievously, he was standing by the door. He had very small space, like he could see Kasturi just this much. And he said he was not going to allow Kasturi. He said, there is Narsimurti, there is Krishna Murti, and there is Satya Murti. There are 3 Murtis in the interview room. And I'm also Murti because he's God, right? He said, I'm also Murti. So Kasturi is not allowed, and he was trying to shut the door. But Kasturi pushed it and came in and he said, Swami, they're all Murtis, but if I come, it'll become Purti. Purti means it'll become whole. So his sense of humor was so good, and Swami and he were like best friends. Swami did chide him a lot too, but he was a very humble devotee who would take a lot of. I remember he told us once, I'll come to it later, but he used to come to our school to talk to us on Wednesdays in Parthi, and he would relate some experiences. He had spoken about, I may be going chronologically everywhere, but sorry for that. But he was talking about an incident when he went to Kerala, which is a state in India. And he went to give a talk about Swami. He used to be called everywhere, okay? So he went to give a talk in Kerala. And at the end of the talk, you know how Swami doesn't like us to put him on a pedestal, but we tend to put him on a pedestal, his devotees on a pedestal, which is wrong, because we are all on the same path. We don't know who is higher, who is lower. Everybody is divine at the same level, right? Including me and Swami are at the same level. But we still have that ignorance. So people would come up to him and touch his feet. And he came back from the talk and came to Parthi. Swami didn't talk to him for a week. And he was very devastated. So he used his mother to get to Swami, and Swami said, oh, nowadays your son Kasturi has become God. He started giving Pad Namaskar to people. So then Kasturi rushes to Swami, falls at his feet. Swami, I didn't ask, they touched my feet. He said, no, if someone comes, touches your feet, you should not allow that. Swami was very clear. He wanted everybody to be humble, not to act like Swami is the prophet. We are not prophets. He doesn't need us. He came to change us. If we are giving lectures, it means that we are not there yet, right? And also, Kasturi would always say, there is a last name in India called Banerjee and Chatterjee. There's a last name. So he would say, always be a don't be a Chatterjee, don't keep on chattering. Be a Banerjee. Hold the banner of Swami. Show what Swami is through your life. Don't just chatter. So don't be Chatterjees, he would say. So those are things I remember about. There's another very funny incident of him. He and another devotee had gone to another place to give a talk about Swami. And Kasturi is, if you've met him, he can go on. He's really good at, he'll keep the crowd mesmerized. So 7 to 8:30 or something, his talk was supposed to end. 9:30 was his bus back from that place to Bangalore. And Kasturi starts to talk. It's already 8:30. It's getting to be 9. He's not stopping. So the devotee who came with him took a chit and wrote BUS to say this bus is ready now. Okay, so he holds up the chit. And immediately Kasturi says, oh, see, he's telling me bus. Bus in Hindi means stop. So he's saying, he's telling me to stop. So his humor was, if you see Swami's humor and Kasturi's humor, very similar. So what I'm saying is, as you get closer to God, you become like him. So that was the whole thing. There's another one incident, and then I'll move on, sorry. When I speak about Kasturi, it's like never ending. So in Whitefield, in the old bungalow, the lighting used to not be very good inside the room. So he was sitting one day, and you've seen Kasturi's photo, right? He puts those 3 big things. So one day Swami went to him and said, Kasturi, what is this bandage? Everybody will think you have a bandage, because he had the vibhuti 3 times. But Kasturi's wit was so good, and he's very wise. So he said, Swami, this bandage is to remove my bondage, he said. And everybody laughed heartily. So it was like a quid pro quo. As soon as Swami says something, Kasturi would reply like this. So it was really amazing. Okay, coming to my story to the school. During the Dashera celebrations of 1977, Swami announced that he was opening his first primary school in Ooty for grades 1 through 3. And I was just finishing up my 2nd grade, going into 3rd grade, so it was perfect for me. And applications were being accepted. So my father asked me if I wanted to go to the school. I said, of course, right? I didn't know any better. I just said, I was so excited of a boarding school. I had only heard of this in comics and in books. So I said, yes, I'll go. So we went to Ooty in 1978 summer, and then there was an entrance exam. Swami was physically there, and he was supervising all the details. And the selection was based on the performance, of course, but also there was an entrance test, and then they also made it so that there is diversity in the class. So there'd be one student from every state of India. And for those of you, the younger ones who don't know much about India, if you cross a state, it's like going into another country with a different language. Of course, English ties everything, but it's totally different. The food is different, the language is different, so everything is different. So the culture is kind of Indian, but it's still different, right? So that was the thing. So they picked one student from every state. I was from Karnataka, so I got picked from Karnataka. And Swami came, talked to all of us, and you know how he's always about good food. So he gave us, our parents and me, good food and everything, gave us Padnamaskar. We started, and so they gave us an option. They said, you passed today, you can start tomorrow, you can bring all your stuff. But I was adamant. I said, no, I want to join today, because it was very exciting to see Swami, the children and everything. So, okay, most of us picked that first day. So we all went, and I was very happy, and Swami was there. And Ooty, the school was that on the lower level, Swami used to stay. Lower level was our dormitories, and Swami's room, Swami's room was upstairs. So, we were fine till dinner time, and after dinner, we were first 100 students. One child started to cry. And it's a domino effect. Everybody's homesick, everyone starts. Can you imagine 100 kids wailing and Swami's upstairs? So all the teachers are trying to shush us, but no, it doesn't work. First day that happened, second day that happened. Finally, Swami came, he made us sit down and he said, why are you crying? So we were missing our parents. And Swami said, I'm your mother, I'm your father, you can ask me for anything. And then magically something happened and we all stopped crying and we enjoyed his company. So the best times we had were at Ooty. Swami, he would walk into our classroom. So there was the bhajan hall. I actually made a thing. I had slides of the school for tomorrow, but I'm going a little ahead. I'll show you the slides if you come back tomorrow. So that's an incentive. But so Swami would walk into the classrooms, and the teacher would be here teaching. And the rooms were small, we had desks, and Swami the door was, so the teachers here, the door would be there. Swami would come from his room there and just enter quickly, and then the teacher would be teaching, she wouldn't know. And Swami would come, he'll put his finger on his mouth like this and come and sit with us in the back, but in the back row. And then if he would turn, he'll say, no, you need to look, otherwise I'm going to ask questions. So the teacher is oblivious, she's teaching. And then she turns around and she would get the shock of her life because Swami is right there. But it became such it became very frequent that one time she was sharpening pencils and Swami came in. And Swami took pencils, he was sharpening and giving it to all of us. So he was one of us for every small thing that we had in Ooty. And so at night, Swami had decided what color uniforms, you saw that first picture with the red, orange color thing. Swami had picked that orange sweater. Ooty is a very cold place. So in the nights before we slept, Swami had made our prayers also. So we would sing Swami's name for 15 minutes, and after that we would do our night prayer and sleep. The song that we had was Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Rama, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Rama, Om Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Rama, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Rama. We'd keep saying this over and over and over again. So this became a habit, and power in India, you have outages all the time. If most of you who have stayed in India would know. So we would have power outages. But the greatness of this was that Swami had instilled this chanting of Swami's name in our brain, in our young brain, that as soon as the power went, one of the teachers would start off the Sai Ram, and we'd all join. That gave us a lesson that whenever things are dark, whenever things are hard, Swami's name is the solace, right? It suddenly gives you courage. It gives you it takes away the fear. So we learned that from the thing. So in the evenings, like I said, I don't have the slide, but I wish I could have transposed it. But in the evening, Swami would, we'd have bhajans. Swami would go out for darshan to the local people, come back, have interviews, and then he would come and sit in our bhajans. We were 100 small kids, 5 through 8 years old. 5 through 7, I think. We would sit and Swami would be there for our bhajans. And then after bhajans, we would be in our pajamas actually, because it used to be cold. We used to wear our monkey caps and our pajamas and everything. And Swami would be there. And after the bhajans, he would sit for around 30-40 minutes with us, just chatting, having casual conversation. So his usual question would be, who wants to sing, who wants to perform, anything you wanted. So we had just started the school, so the teachers didn't have time to coach us how to behave with Swami, okay? So we were wild. And Swami said, anybody who wants to perform? So there's this one young boy, he was all about 5 years, he was just getting into first grade, he was 5.5 or something. He put up his hand, Swami called him, he said, come. He said, you're going to sing? Yes, Swami. So this is 1978. In 1977, there was a hit Bollywood song. Okay, and it went like, Bombay se aaya mera dost. So this boy knew that song very well. He put his hand up like this and he danced to it. He said, Bombay se aaya mera dost, dost ko salam karo, raat ko khao piyo, din mein aram karo. He sang this in front of Swami. All the teachers are shell-shocked, okay? They don't know how to react because they think that Swami is going to scold them and say, what are you teaching these children? So this boy is oblivious, okay? And Swami is laughing. His stomach is going up and down. His cheeks are red. And, then the boy finished. Swami was so happy with him. He pinched his cheek and all that. And then Swami, very sweetly, he told him, he said, and it's good to learn all this, but you should sing songs for God. Bhagwan ke liye bhajan karna. He taught him very nicely, very sweetly. So what I like about this incident is, right at that age, he taught us that God is loving. As adults, we judge people, right? But Swami has seen our past lives, so many instances that we have done so many things. But in spite of that, he's so loving. But even in this instant, in the current instance, he saw that the child, so two things. He learned that God should not be feared, and he got the self-confidence, right? That you can break a child's self-confidence very easily by being harsh. So this was one story. So another time, again, Swami had asked, and I put up my hand. I'm usually very shy of public display, but for Swami, I was ready to do it. So he called me. Thanks. He called me and he said, oh, you want to sing? And the thing is, Swami would ask us to sing in our mother tongues. He was very he wanted us all to sing in our own mother tongues, and he wanted us all, he would bring guests and be very proud. See, my children can speak so many languages, yet they are staying together so happily under one roof and everything. So then Swami asked me, oh, you want to sing? I'm from Karnataka, but, so I said, yes, Swami. He said, okay, sing in Kannada. I had a song. I sang, Krishna ni ne pegabaro yanamanado lihatoro ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಮಧುರೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ದು ಗೋಕುಲ. That's it. I stopped because I couldn't remember beyond this, right? So then I looked at Swami. He's also looking at me. So I said, okay, let me try again. So I started again. Same point, I got stuck. Now I didn't know what to do. And Swami very lovingly told me, oh, marthoita. He said, did you forget in Kannada? So that again made a big impression. First of all, he's patient. Second, he knows my language. So it's important for all of us to know God doesn't need you to speak in Sanskrit. If we ourselves don't understand, he wants us to speak to him in a language we understand that he understands. He understands all languages. So that was one other lesson I learned from that. And then he told me to go back, practice and sing again. I never got a chance to sing that song again to Swami. Hopefully sometime. So that was another thing. What else was I going to say? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So then We would do a lot of presentations in front of Swami. It was very silly sometimes, and I'll show you the slides tomorrow, but it was silly, but he would enjoy it a lot. He would watch movies with us. So there was one particular one drama that we used to do called Stomach Ache. It was a very silly thing. Nowadays, if you have SSC teachers here, you'll think what kind of, there's no essence to it, no moral essence to it. But anyway, maybe there was. But so the first scene is that you have a patient who comes in with a stomachache, and you have a nurse, you have a doctor, and you have the director. So the patient comes in and he says, I have a stomachache. So the doctor says, okay, lie down. And then the director gets mad and he says, cut, cut, cut. There's no expression. You have to show some pain. You are in pain. So he comes crying. He says, oh, my stomach is hurting. And then the doctor says, what is happening? The doctor is also crying. The nurse is crying. So Swami would enjoy this. And then the director will say, cut, what is this? You can't cry for everything. So then the next scene will be everybody's laughing. So he'll say, I'm having a stomachache. So Swami used to love this. We did this so many times. I think we did it in Purnachandra Auditorium also in front of everybody. Swami loved this play. So he was one with us. And also in during the World Conference in 1980, we had all gone from Ooty in a bus, and then Swami had us present in front of, it's in Richard Bach's that video of our presentation there. So at night, sometimes, since Swami's room was upstairs, he would come down and say good night to us. Sometimes, he will just walk through the dormitories and come say good night to us, and then we used to sleep. And some of our teachers had told us that he would come. Ooty is a very cold place, so we used to have 3 blankets because it was a British Viceroy's summer haven that was bought by Swami to convert to our school. So it had wooden floors and everything. It would be very cold. So we had 3 blankets. Swami would personally come and tuck us in, is what our teachers have told us. I don't remember because we used to be sleeping at that time. So he was that. See, why I'm saying it's not that we are special. I'm just saying the love of Swami. We are incidental. We are so small. But if you see how many things was he managing, but he had, when he gave his time, he gave it 100% to what he was doing at that point of time. Yeah. So one other thing he would tell us always is, see, this is 1978. I don't know for who all were born at during that time, but television was a zilch. There was nothing on television. There used to be very few programs, and if someone would pass away, some dignitary in India, for 3 days you would have mourning going on the TV. That is the kind of television we had. One channel, that's it. In spite of that, Swami would say, don't watch TV, okay? We used to think, what is there in that, right? So, but we would go home. There'd be some funny shows, I guess. When we would come back to school, and if Swami came to school, he would say, who all watched television? And if we didn't say anything, because we would keep thinking in our minds, did we watch or not, did we not watch? Swami would pick out and say, you watched, you watched, you watched. He knew. So it was so funny that my aunts and uncles they were not devotees of Swami, so when I would go visit them, they'd have the TV on. I would sit in the living room, close my eyes. They really thought I was crazy. First of all, I was crazy for following Swami. Secondly, I was crazy because I was closing my eyes in front of the TV. But we knew that he's watching, so he gave us that omniscience kind of experience. Swami was, I only remember funny times with Swami because he was a child amongst us. Whenever he would come, he was like Santa Claus. For today's children, juice, biscuits, they're all very easily available. For us, it was really great at those times. So those Tetra Packs, like the the malt stuff, you get those Tetra Packs. Swami used to bring juice for us when he would come to Ooty. So he would give us all the juice boxes. The problem is, it's easy to control girls. It's very hard to control small boys. So they would drink up the juice quickly, put the Tetra Pak on the floor, and press on it. So it would make a big pop, okay? So the teachers had warned us. They said, be careful. Swami is coming. You have to behave. You have to behave. So three, 4 times this has happened. Now they're trying to control us. So everybody's drinking their Tetra Pak and they're all watching carefully who is going to do it, especially the boys. And suddenly they hear a pop. And then they look for who's the person who did it, and it was Swami. Swami is proudly showing it. So he was trying to be one of us, always making us feel. So we felt like we have a power over the teachers. And he would make sure that our grades went to him, our weight, our everything, all our stats used to go to Swami. So if anybody had lost weight, Swami would come and chide the teachers and say, hey, their parents, what are they going to tell? They'll say, Swami is not feeding properly. Swami would say, the parents have given the children to me. It's my responsibility. So he would overfeed them. There was one time, I was always very skinny when I was growing up, not so much now, but then I was very skinny. And Swami was not very happy. And they would feed me butter, cheese, and everything, but I would not gain weight. And then Swami said, okay, let her go. But so that was one thing. He would often ask us in front of all the delegates, I said, so I have to tell you that our class was very special, or our school was very special at that time, because we had children not only from the different states of India, but we had Diana Baskin's daughter, Christina Rajgopal, was my classmate as well. And then if you see Bashiruddin, they were the first Muslim devotees of Swami. Their daughter was my classmate. What was special is that Swami was very proud, but also he would make each of us sing in our languages and our gods. So he would make Christina sing songs on Jesus. He would make Ruxana sing songs on Allah, and we all used to follow. So he showed his true, when he shows the Sarvadharma symbol, he really lived it for us, and we saw him do that. It was not only Hinduism. He made sure that we were all, the diversity in everything, and he made us. And we used to do one drama called Das Pek. There were 6 kids, each one would be from every religion, and then the final child would be Swami. She would have that Swami's hair, and these were girls doing it. So Swami used to be very proud of that play, because first of all, it's displaying his message. Second of all, this girl who dressed as Swami, she was a 5-year-old girl. She was very cute, and she would do this, and Swami would say, see how nicely she does. He used to be so proud. And I'll show you the picture tomorrow, but he has a picture where he's holding her like this. He was so proud of her. So when we once went from Ooty to Puttaparthi, right, we did a Gopika dance in front of them. I was a Gopika. There was a small girl, Poornima, she was a Krishna. So the program was that if you all have seen Purnachandra Auditorium, it's very overwhelming. It's a huge stage, and in those days there were no rows of seating there. It was all on the floor, and there were steps to go down. So this girl was supposed to come as Krishna, she was dressed, and she had to go and garland Swami. Okay, so the curtains part, she comes to the edge of the stage and she sees Swami's down there. She doesn't know what to do. The garland, she's really short, and she's holding the garland, what to do with Swami. Swami immediately sent 2 boys from his college and said, pick her up. So they picked her up, and Swami stood, he took the garland, and then he told her to take Padnamaskar, and she, the peacock feather was there for the Krishna. She went to bend and she took Padnamaskar, and the peacock feather went away this way. He nicely, sweetly arranged it and sent her back. So, the loving concern of Swami, I can never forget those expressions on Swami's face. Okay, coming to a little bit of spirituality. Swami would always ask all of us from which states we are, okay? Because he would bring delegates and he wanted everybody to know how great his children are. Whether we are or not, he would want to show us off. So he would ask me all the time, where are you from? So I would say Karnataka. Karnataka was the state where Bangalore is the city. So I said Karnataka. And Swami would say, kar, natak, because in Hindi, kar means do, and natak is like, but he would make it like a dance, like this, kar, natak. So I didn't, many times this happened. So I would always think maybe Swami's meaning that he wants me to do dramas, because I used to write plays also in school, so I thought it was that, and I let it go. But after a few years, I was listening to talk on Radio Sai, and there was Professor Bhagya. He's one of the professors in Parthi. He was saying that when he was growing up, his uncle would never let, or his dad never let him watch plays. Plays in India is called natak in Hindi. So he would not let him watch plays, because he would say, na atak means don't get stuck. Na atak, if you watch natak, you'll get stuck. So don't watch natak. So that is when it realized that after so many years, the spiritual import of Swami said, kar, na atak, means do, but don't get stuck. So that's the essence of Bhagavad Gita, right? Swami's thing to do something, but not get attached to the results. So his one word can mean different things as we evolve in life. Bhagavad Gita is again very, very, very close to my heart. And I was talking to Neelam's mom, and we were discussing that this morning. So in 1984, while I was there, Swami gave a 30-day discourse on Bhagavad Gita every single day, and we went and attended that. And he would love for us, in those days, Vedas were not his fancy. We would chant Bhagavad Gita in front of him. He would want the second chapter from the 54th verse to 72nd verse, which 54th verse is that Sthita Pragnasya Ka Bhasha, where what is the definition of a person who is equanimous, right? From that verse on till the 72nd verse, and then he would want us to chant the 12th chapter of Gita, which is the devotion, Bhakti Yoga, which is on devotion. The greatness of these two chapters is it tells you how a devotee behaves as a fully realized jnani versus a fully realized bhakta. Both of them are very similar, but their paths are different. So he loved that, coming to that. Also, one of my, when we would have sports and we would win prizes, Swami would give books and whatever gifts, right? One time when I received a prize from Swami, it was Gita Vahini. So that's why it's very, very special for me, Bhagavad Gita. And also his message of Karnataka that keeps ringing. I have not yet stopped attaching myself to the results, but I'm trying there. So in 1981, Swami moved us to Prashanti Nilayam. So what happened was first, second, and third grade he had started. So when I went to fourth grade, he opened fourth grade. When I went to fifth grade, he opened fifth grade. And after fifth grade, he moved us to Puttaparthi, where he opened the primary school there. So then he built the primary school, and there was only space for first through fifth classrooms. And from sixth on, there was not a wing, there was not enough space. So he sent us to Ishwaram High School. Ishwaram High School then was a Telugu medium. But he instituted 2 years for us just so we could have English medium there. Now it's a English medium, but in those days. And then we would go to the boys' school to learn Sanskrit. So I've gone through all the primary schools where there's boys or girls and stuff, just so you know. I wanted to tell you one more thing. Among the children that were there in Ooty, they were the Craxis, all the older devotees will know. Craxis' two daughters were there. They were from Italy. And when they first started in primary school in Ooty, they didn't know any English. They only spoke Italian. So at night they would cry and we wouldn't know what they wanted. We only knew aqua means water. So we used to ask them aqua. They would say no. We didn't know why they were crying. But finally they did learn Hindi. They learned everything like all of us. So whenever Swami in Parthi, in Ooty, Swami was like this. In Parthi also he was close, but the intimacy we had in Ooty was something out of this world. In Parthi also, he would come, since it was a new, one thing with Swami is when he starts a new project. Are we doing okay with time? Let me know. 2 more minutes, okay. All right, so I'll just do quickly one story, and then I'm giving you an incentive to come back tomorrow so I can tell you more stories. So I'll tell you one quick episode, because I've been talking to you all about the physical part of Swami, about his omnipresence and omniscience. So there was this boy in our school who was a 5-year-old. So whenever a new boy comes, there'll be a prefect or a person who will take care of him and his needs in the school. So this boy had one prefect who was very lazy. So in the night, he would want to go to the restroom. This boy, the older boy, wouldn't wake up. It's pretty scary. The lights are off. There's only one small light in the bathroom. So you have to walk across in the dormitory to go to the restroom. So he would this boy wouldn't wake up. And he needs to go to the restroom, right? And this is a 5-year-old boy, you have to hold it, right? So he didn't know what to do. And then he looks to the bathroom and he sees Swami standing there. And Swami signals him. So he gets very happy and he goes, and Swami takes him to the restroom and he comes back. This has happened several times, okay? And this boy didn't think much of it. He thought, it's Swami's school, it's Swami's duty to do this, okay? This was it. But there was one time when they were talking again, they had to reassign prefects, and they brought these children, and this boy said, how many times I woke him up, auntie, he didn't take me to the restroom, Swami had to come, So these were things that happen on an everyday basis. Coming to Guru Poornima again, I'll end quickly. I think the greatest dakshina, or the greatest return we can give to our Guru is obedience, because he has come here to show us the goal. And if we don't reach the goal, what is the purpose of his coming down on earth? With those few words, I'll end my talk today. Sai Ram.